trees.
Hey everybody, this is Jeffrey Griffin. Join me and Christian Snyder and get your work week started the right way with Triad Today. Civics 101 Unleashed Weekend Review. Hooray for Hollywood with Donald Marler and a whole lot more. See y'all then on the next Triad Today. Take care.
The Twin City Thunderbirds have flown the coop and are taking the storm nationwide. They're road ready and battle tested, but hold on, because they're returning to the nest on February 27th and 28th to face off with the Watertown Wolves. While they're away, stock up on exclusive Thunderbirds merchandise, grab your tickets, and get ready to storm the rink with Thunder on Ice. Follow the action at TwinCityThunderbirds.com. Feel the power. Join the storm. Twin City Thunderbirds.
Atlantic Coast Sports has a lot of merchandise for you to capitalize on. You like sports memorabilia. It's got pro sports. It's got college sports. Whatever you really need. And that's on the first floor. If you want to go and make a day out of it, get inside the batting cages on the second floor, third floor, the green room, every golf course programmed into it. Food-wise, they got the loaded coat. Atlantic Coast Sports is the place to go. Fabulous store. AtlanticCoastSports.com, located downtown Mount Airy.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Classes available online or in person. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted.
Not available in Washington State.
Waking Up Prowled on WSJS.
Watch out, I'm coming for you now.
Fueling fans, flavor, and fun.
Wake up, I'm turning things around.
The morning show that's always on the prowl is served up by Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters in High Point. With its fresh specialty roasted beans crafted to order, each cup is a journey. And by High Point University, the premier life skills university and ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review.
Make way for the king.
This is Waking Up Prowled with Stephen Beck.
The biggest sports event of the weekend has been set. It's not #1 Michigan playing #3 Duke later. It's not Scotty Scheffler attempting to come from 12 shots back and magically find his way inside of the top 10 again at the Genesis. This event is about miracles. Welcome in. It's Waking Up Proud. I am Steven here on WSJS, the news, sports talk station for the Triad. Waking Up Proud, a part of Teed Off Sports. So we hope you'll go and follow along with us all throughout the week at teedoffsports.com. Today is a jam-packed 2 hours as it normally is, and it's just me and you hanging out this morning. So feel free to call in, touch base with me at any point at 336-777-1600. That's the direct number. It will be me answering. We'll even zip you live on air. So be ready because I'd love to get you involved. Or you can follow along with us with our streams on X at WSJS Radio or at Stephen Beck TO. But we've got Scotty Pierman, the #2 ranked long drive champ for 2025 on the show today. We also have high school basketball coach and moonlighting at the same time as a financial advisor, Doug Eslick, who just played their first state championship playoff game last night in high school boys basketball here in North Carolina. He's going to be joining us. And in the midst of it all, stick with me here. We've got a runaway pig in North Carolina that was dealing with a standoff with police. And so we'll bring you that story as well, amongst a lot of other stuff this morning that we're really excited to have you along the ride with us on. Grab your Foster Hobbs coffee. If you haven't seen them, fosterhobbs.com or their roastery there in High Point, because we've been out and about trying tacos as well, empowered by Foster Hobbs. We'll give you a little bit of an update of our latest find for that as well. I'm jacked because I'm a college basketball guy. And today, really, I would say I watch and follow the sport starting even before the first games happen in November. I'm at practices in September, October. But this time of the year, you start to really feel it. I won't lie to you. It starts getting warmer outside. You got a bracket that you're starting to look at, and I know prognosticators will start filling that out way back at the same time I'm at practice facilities. But now you can actually start really putting some meat on it. You got a team last night in Miami of Ohio, the only team remaining in college basketball undefeated. They won again last night, so you can follow storylines like that at this point. I mean, there's so much really there gripping to be excited about, including a game you can hear later today right here on WSJS between Duke and Michigan. That's a big-time game. I love it as a fan. If I was John Shire today, I don't know. I might not love the timing of the scheduling here. You're trying to gear up for an ACC tournament that looks like it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge than it has been in prior years. And now you look up and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, we're taking on the number one team in the nation today. and they're not in our league. So that'll be fun. Excited about all this stuff. But meanwhile, this winter, we've got the Olympics going on. Updates, they're going to happen even during this show today on Waking Up Proud. And we follow along with this. But I think the biggest sport event of the weekend could easily be overlooked, especially in our country. But it's right here in front of us. And it's going to have a puck drop tomorrow morning around 8 a.m. It's the United States playing Canada men's hockey Olympic gold medal game. This thing between these two countries, it's got some history to it. The USA is trying to win their first gold medal in hockey for men since they did it in 1980. That was the Miracle on Ice. And I know that for sports, that one was a touch ahead of my time. I was born in 88. But I know that for just sports history and historians, that was a big deal. Canada, they're trying to get their 10th gold medal in hockey, and you would assume they're really the favorites coming in. Now, while that's the case, in the semifinals rounds, if you missed that out yesterday, the United States beat Slovakia pretty dominantly, 6-2, while Canada was in a dogfight with Finland 3-2. Like I said, these guys build up for this game. In America, we're not the biggest fans of hockey. We focus more on football and basketball, and maybe you could even argue baseball before we ever think about something on the ice. But I can tell you this is appointment watching for me tomorrow morning. Now, a big part of the United States' success are the Tkachuk brothers. Keith Tkachuk used to play way back for the Phoenix Coyotes. I loved playing with him on NHL 98 and Video Game World. But he's got two boys that are helping lead this United States team throughout the Olympics. And yesterday, after the game, Brady Tkachuk was asked about the upcoming game with Canada.
I mean, they've been on top for a bunch of years now, and I mean they've got tremendous players on their team. They play super hard, and for us, it's just kind of leaving everything on the table and just giving absolutely everything we have, the sacrifice that I know that guys are willing to make every single shift, every single play. That's what it's going to come down to. It's just the ultimate sacrifice to help each other and achieve a childhood dream.
Yeah, so I know for these guys in the crux of it on both sides, you heard it right there at the tail end. Tkachuk, childhood dream. a lot of these dudes, it's tough for me to get my head wrapped around it because here in the Triad, I'm born and raised in North Carolina. We're not out on ponds skating around in the wintertime pretending that we're the next Wayne Gretzky a lot. I actually am one of the few that did play ice hockey. I played roller hockey first, slid into ice hockey, and carried that all the way throughout high school, actually traveling and doing some of that. But that's a rare breed. It doesn't happen very often. And my hockey swing transitioned over to golf. So I've even kind of let that slide. But for these dudes that are getting set for tomorrow's matchup, I mean, they've been dreaming of this for years. You can just envision the Tkachuk brothers watching their dad play actually as an Olympian in the past, and now they get their opportunity. If you're like me, though, you got to do a little bit of digging to remember where these two teams have come from and faced one another in the past. So just real quick, USA versus Canada in hockey, they've played 19 games in the past. We're a big underdog for the USA. We've won 4 of those games. Canada's won 10. There have been 3 ties, but Canada has a pretty significant goal margin lead against us, 66-43. That puck drop around 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So, again, just like today, Foster Hobbs coffee in hand, ready to get set and going for a Super Saturday. You got to get your Foster Hobbs, roll out of bed, try to catch a little bit of hockey before you head off to church. And I'm excited about this one. We'll follow up with more Olympic coverage coming up in just a little bit. But as I stated, it's also a big day in college basketball. One of those is right here in the Triad. And I'll tell you right now, you can be a very casual basketball fan and realize Duke, Michigan's a big game. There's always stuff happening in the ACC, the Big Ten, all these other bigger leagues. I am also a mid-major guy. I can tell you about it coming up here. Waking Up Proud, just getting started on WSJS.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. The U.S. is seeking its first ever women's curling medal as Team USA takes on Canada for bronze this hour. Team USA leads 2-1 after 3 ends. Switzerland plays Sweden for gold tomorrow. And history was made here on the penultimate day in northern Italy as Norwegian cross-country skier Johannes Klæbo won his 6th gold medal of these Winter Games, placing first in the 50-kilometer cross-country mass start to move past American Eric Heiden, setting a record for most golds won by an athlete in a single Winter Olympics. American freestyle skiers Connor Curran, Kayla Kuhn, and Chris Lillis won gold in mixed team aerials this morning. And Team USA just missed the podium in the first ever mixed relay in ski mountaineering. The U.S. duo of Cam Smith and Ann Gibson placed 4th. With this Winter Games update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood One Sports.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com.
Let's play ball!
Ready for a home run? Wake Forest Baseball is back at the couch, and it's your chance to catch all the action live. Listen to Triad Today, The Drive, and Waking Up Proud for your chance to win tickets. Brought to you by Pancho Villa, serving delicious, authentic, fresh food in Winston-Salem and High Point. Check out the full schedule at WSJS.com. But hurry, these games are hotter than a fastball, and tickets are flying out faster than a grand slam.
That is gone!
Wake Forest Baseball. Don't miss it.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
You wake up, it's easy. The morning, come with me. We started, so let's go.
Stephen Beck is connecting Carolina with Waking Up Proud on WSJS.
Happy Saturday morning to you. I am back here on Waking Up Proud, a part of WSJS, and you can stream us on the go at WSJS.com. Off to a high energy, high powered start for your Saturday. I'm sorry, I will admit on the front end, I'm running about 10,000 miles an hour because of a lot of excitement for things coming up today, but also just got a ton that I want to jam pack into this show with you today. Don't forget, any point that you want to jump in, get involved, 336-777-1600 is the number. But as you kind of just are groggy, rolling over, let me get you started with the latest in North Carolina.
Give me what I want. Give me what I need.
Hot off the prowl with Stephen Beck.
These are the top trending stories for our state this morning. Authorities say now that the house fire that unfortunately killed the father of NASCAR driver Denny Hamlin has officially now been ruled accidental, though investigators still cannot exactly determine the cause. Dennis Hamlin was 75. He passed away after the December blaze at their family home. The wife, though, did survive with some severe injuries. And officials say that fire likely started in a bedroom, but the damage still has made it kind of hard to pinpoint exactly how it started. We've got a big shift coming up. You know, it's been nice outside. Our weather, again, North Carolina, it's temperamental. It's up and down, bipolar. Well, meteorologists say that the state is about to see a major temperature swing again, moving from record warmth where we are close to the 80s. Like I think last evening around 4 or 5 o'clock, we were record high 74. Now it's sadly going to get much colder again with a new weather system coming through this weekend. Forecasters warn residents, expect that sharp change here at the start of the week. And the last story I'm going to share more on in just a second, but I'll say something strange is going on in Greensboro. The pizza chain Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza has closed a couple of North Carolina locations, including one in Greensboro, the others in Winston-Salem. And that is part of something kind of strange happening in and around that area. It's not the first of restaurant closures. It's actually one of a few now. So we're going to share a little bit more on that, including more coming up on college basketball. I prematurely teased you there, but I'm just giving you a heads up. It's coming. Full scale slate that I'm looking ahead to today. But I want to really talk right now some of this restaurant closings, what's happening in our state. Two stories here that are polar opposite. They're pushing each other, and it's kind of confusing to me. As an entrepreneur, a business person, I always look at trends, and I'm just struck curious. If you are a small business owner like myself, then you start to get a little concerned when other businesses start to close around you. So I can only try to imagine what some restaurant owners in the Triad, Greensboro, start to feel, because in just a matter of 2-3 weeks here, it feels like they've had 3-4 restaurants just shut their doors. Actually, I'll go a step further. If you just cycle back to the story on K&W from, I don't know, what was that, 3-4 months ago, it had started then. Very historical establishment that just didn't give a ton of warning. All of a sudden, they got a news release that's out that just says, hey, we're done here. Well, the latest of that I just shared is Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza in Greensboro. They closed February 16th. That location there, and then the one in Winston-Salem. And the company announced that they would be shutting down because it's a change in their nationwide franchises model and kind of what they foresee moving forward. But that's the outward words of a social media or media release announcement. That doesn't mean anything, really. I mean, I think everybody can kind of see through that, right? There's more happening here. There's something else going on. As I said, just part of a wave. Some of the other restaurants you may have forgotten about that also shut down in Greensboro: McCool's Public House, Dame's Chicken and Waffles. I know I shared that one because, honestly, I'm not a chicken and waffle together kind of guy. That was one of my unpopular opinions here. And then I've never heard of this restaurant. I won't lie. So maybe that's part of the problem. But Seal and Sco in Greensboro also shut down. So I just wonder, what about Greensboro right now in the foodie establishments are causing these places all to go under? Is it our eating habits that have changed? Are we more likely to stay at home and cook? I wouldn't say that. I'd be really surprised. Send me a message on social media at Stephen Beck TO or 336-777-1600. I'd love to hear others' thoughts this morning as to why they feel like these restaurants might be shutting down. But as a society, I would often expect, because everybody's moving at such a high speed and we're always on the go. If you're like my family, a family of 4, and you got young kids that have practices and sporting events and other things that are happening at school, cooking at home and doing that on a 7-night basis, I don't see that that's what's happening. Is it the rent and the overhead expenses? I would say that probably plays a huge role into it. Just look at the housing markets and the places that used to cost as a mortgage probably $100,000, and now they're doubled, tripled even at times. It's just very concerning. I don't know why exactly this would be happening, but Greensboro seems to be right at the center. Now, I said at the start, polar opposites happening here because while we've got restaurants shuttering their doors, North Carolina has a couple of cities here in the Triad, in their most desirable counties that people should move to in the United States. Number 1 in the country, I also go there and frequent. That's Brunswick County. So in the entire United States, they did a study of population growth, housing demands, migration trends. They even said like attractiveness overall for people to try to shift to these places. In the entire United States, the number 1 county is Brunswick, out towards our coast, where it has exploded with growth. 11 other North Carolina counties made this national top 50 list that was put together. But here's the rub for me. While we've got the restaurants shutting down, one of those other counties, cities that they're saying, hey, this is one of the most desirable places in the United States to move to. Yep, you guessed it. Greensboro. It made the list. It's the largest city in the Piedmont Triad, one of the biggest in North Carolina with more than 3,000 people. Where are all those people eating on a regular basis? Also, The other that was in the triad that was listed in the top 50 for the entire United States was Winston-Salem. It's gained a lot of attention for relatively affordable housing and a job market that's growing, and that would be expected in both probably High Point and Greensboro as well. So really the overall triad in great shape until you start wondering like, well, our food places though, they're shutting down. Something really cool coming up for you after the break. We've got a high school basketball coach here in the local triad area who moonlights as a financial advisor. And he's going to join us to talk about those two, but also to talk about how Forsyth Country Day School is doing in their state championship playoff games, one that they played last night. Now, I'll say this is pre-recorded. We already spent time with one another this week, but really great guy, great conversation. Going to share it with you next here on Waking Up Proud.
Feel the rush of the stadium and the roar of the crowd. It all happens right here with the Charlotte Football Club on WSJS. Experience every goal and every cheer. From first kick to final whistle, hear the crown roar on WSJS and WSJS.com. This afternoon, Charlotte FC visits St. Louis City SC.
Only one queen at the top of the mountain.
Live, loud and local. All hail the crown, live on WSJS.
Too tough to tame? Try Too Rough to Ride. Nothing about this place lets you sit back. It rips up your tires and tears at your heart. Let's go! History, glory, consequences. That's Darlington, where stripes are well earned. The Goodyear 400. NASCAR's best face the lady in black. And this spring, how about that? She'll leave her mark. Hell yeah, boys! NASCAR weekend at Darlington Raceway, March 20th through the 22nd. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
It goes from zero to brutal in just a whiff. Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters in High Point. A sip of heaven that took a right turn at delicious and landed in the hearts of coffee lovers everywhere. With its fresh specialty roasted beans crafted to order, each cup is a journey from smooth blends to bold global roast. Only Foster Hobbs could brew this kind of magic, and it's called coffee. Now available at fosterhobbs.com. Brew your bliss today.
Feeling frosty? Don't hibernate, celebrate. It's the winter wonderland of winning at WSJS.com, where winter meets winning. For real. Every week, sign up for a chance at cool prizes. It's like a bear hug from Lady Luck. Hibernate later, win now. Dive into a wonderland of bear wins, where every click could be your ticket to cool treasures. Visit WSJS.com and be too cool to hibernate.
North Carolina's weekend morning show.
This is the time, things will be alright. Friendly faces around, everywhere you look.
Waking Up Proud with Stephen Beck.
It is Waking Up Proud. I am Beck with you here on WSJS. And we hope you'll also join us at teedoffsports.com, the home for me throughout the week, where there's blogs, there's podcasts, there's great interviews like I'm about to actually share with you next. Now, last night, Forsyth Country Day High School here in our local triad area played the first round for them. They had a bye, but then they played their first game in the state high school boys basketball tournament that's going on right now. Close game with Westland. Came away with a 51-49 win for Forsyth Country Day School. But we had the pleasure of sitting down with their head coach, Doug Eslick, earlier this week. Great guy, great conversation, and I wanted to share that with you now. It's a pleasure to have with us here on Waking Up Proud on WSJS, head coach of Forsyth Country Day School basketball program, Doug Eslick. Doug, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me.
We're really in the crux of a great regular season that's just ended, and now looking ahead to the playoffs that are starting here in earnest. Actually, as we're recording this, you've already played a playoff game. So we'll talk about the playoffs upcoming. But I wanted to start a little bit beyond that because you and I have interesting ties that have woven in past before now. And so let's go back to that. You yourself played at a school that both of us attended in Westchester. And after that, ended up venturing off into a coaching career that led you to coach at collegiate levels first. Talk about how you learned early on, hey, this might be something I want to do.
Yeah, it's even from early on in my high school career, I knew that I was really fortunate to be on some really good teams in high school. Played with my junior year, we won the state championship. We had 3 other Division I players on my team. And so I had pretty good sense of clarity that my career was going to get capped by a lack of talent. And so, if I wanted to continue in the game, coaching would be the route. And so even as a high school, sophomore, junior, I knew I wanted to coach because I just loved ball. I just loved the game so much and wanted just to be around it all the time. And I knew I was going to graduate and my options were going to be pretty few and far between. But I actually ended up having an opportunity to play JV basketball at the University of North Carolina. And you can play in that program for 2 years and then you either make the varsity team or you don't. And so I had the incredible privilege to play for a guy named Doug Wojcik, who was the head assistant for Matt Daugherty's staff, and had awesome experience. I learned so much playing for Coach Woj and being a part of that program. And as I finished playing, Coach Williams' staff came in. That was the transition year. And so I spent my junior year helping Jared Haas, who ended up being head coach at UAB and then Stanford with the JV program. And then my senior year, I got an opportunity to coach with the School of Math and Science in Durham, which was a great experience for me, having some more responsibility with the program, coaching a high school age kids and also had an AAU program. So I was always kind of chasing this, trying to learn and grow as a coach. It was always kind of at the forefront of everything I was doing. And so I finished up, getting ready to graduate. And Steve Robinson was an assistant at Carolina at the time. He and Mike Dement, who ended up being my boss at UNCG, had worked together many, many years ago. And it was kind of my first real peek into the very small fraternity of college basketball. Everybody knows everybody, at any given time. There's about 1,200 men in the whole world that get to be Division I basketball coaches. And so we all kind of know each other. And people cycle in and out as I've done, but it's a small group. And so Coach Dement, when he got back to UNCG, was talking to Coach Rob and, hey, any young, dumb guys that'll come and, work ridiculous hours for nothing. And Coach Rob said, I know just such a kid. And so got us connected and got to be the director of basketball operations at UNCG. And that was my foot in the door into college basketball. And that year was like, I learned what it really meant to run a program. I learned what it was like to, sleep in the office. I got a real peek into what it was all about and loved it. And, coaching at any level, but particularly at that level is a real sickness. And I had it for sure. And so was able to leave there, went to Gardner-Webb as an assistant, was there for 4 years. And then my boss at Gardner-Webb was let go. And it was just a crazy deal. So it was that spring. And I was engaged. My wife and I were getting ready to get married. And I was out recruiting in Oklahoma, got a call that my boss had been let go.
Oh, man.
And, we're 2 months from getting married and called my wife, hey, been fired. She's like, what does that mean? I was like, got to find a job. And so I got connected with Bob Hoffman at Mercer University and got that job. And so my wife and I went on our honeymoon and we came back, landed in Charlotte. And I drove through Gastonia, dropped her off at the condo that we were supposed to live in. And I just continued right down 85 to Macon. So literally left the honeymoon, went straight to Macon, left my wife 2 months later, she moves to making, so for her, should have been a huge red flag, right? Like, man, do I really want to be a coach's wife? And she should have run screaming at that point. But for whatever reason, she hung in there. So we did 7 years in Macon and then 4 years at UNC Wilmington. So got to hop around the Southeast a little bit.
Yeah, Doug Etzlick, head varsity boys basketball coach at Forsyth Country Day School. I do want to talk about this season. One thing some people may not realize, though, is that not only are you still in the coaching profession and working with Forsyth Country Day School, but also you advise folks at Edward Jones in financial advising. And what I think is a unique combo there is that not only now can you work with these young student athletes on a skill that they like and enjoy and play in basketball, but you most likely can also talk with them about real world situations like, hey, you also probably need a job. Tell us how those two probably come in contact a lot for you.
Yeah, I tell you, so about 2 years ago now, started to kind of get interested in an opportunity at Edward Jones. And, last year kind of did what I did back in 2020 all over again, but kind of with some real specific parameters around, financial services, financial planning and advising. And the opportunity at Jones was just so compelling. I mean, it was just a perfect fit for me, perfect fit for my family, and just a fantastic opportunity. And I tell you what really kind of helped provide some clarity for me. I was having a conversation with a good friend who had been in financial services. And one of the things I learned as I took the AD job, a couple of years prior, was that, you think about a job that you've never done before, but until you're actually in it and doing it every day, you have no idea what that job really is, right? Like I thought I had I've been in sports my whole life, right? Like I know what a high school athletic director does. I had no idea what a high school athletic director does. Huge learning opportunity for me as a professional that when you start assuming things, man, you can put yourself in a spot you might not have anticipated. And so I approached kind of this potential transition with a much greater degree of humility and asked, I hope, and I certainly believe at this point, a whole lot better questions about, assuming I didn't know. And so I asked this friend, say, what is it? I know what people would say that a financial advisor does, but what do you do every day? And he said, well, I get to know people. I build a trusting relationship with them. I'll learn what their goals and dreams are. And I'll work with them to build a plan to help them reach those. And then I'll walk with them through the ups and downs of life to help them get there. And I kind of sat there for a second and I said, well, that's coaching. And he sat there for a second and he said, yeah, I guess it kind of is. And so what's been really great for me as I've made this transition is it really is. It's all about, it's all about people and figuring out what's important to them and then having the skills and tools and resources available to help them get where they want to go, right? Whether that's saving for their child's college, the cost of college, whether that's planning for retirement, whether that's, buying a new home, whether that's building an emergency fund. I mean, whatever their goals are. I mean, I say in every initial conversation, say, hey, this first conversation is all about you, your family, and what's important to you. And we're going to end up talking about money because money touches every part of this. But what this is really about is you, your family, and your goals. And that's exactly what, coaching the young men I've been fortunate enough to be around. It's about what's important to them and how to help them reach their goals. And a lot of times, whether you're a coach or a financial advisor, the truth you have to tell people and the information you have to tell them sometimes is things that they necessarily want to hear, and being able to communicate that information in a way that people can hear and people can understand that, and I'm for you, right? Like I'm here to help you get to where you told me you want to get. Here's what we've got to do every day. Like, here are the days we got to stack to be able to retire at 60. Here are the decisions we got to make to be able to get Johnny to college with no debt. Here are the things that we got to do to protect your family in case you lose your job. Those are the same conversations I'm having with our players about, hey, you said you wanted to be a state champion. Well, here's what it's going to take to get there. But you're not doing that every day. So what do we need to change? We got to change our goals, or we got to change our behavior. What do we want to do here? Right. And, and my job as a coach or as an advisor is to always keep those goals front and center. If we ain't changing these, right? You told me this was important to you. So what are we going to do to get there? Right. And so the synergy between the paths that I've been on professionally is really astonishing, to be honest.
Well, and so as folks hear this and they look up at Forsyth Country Day School's record this year, 26-3, knowing that you're a good coach on the court here, you're probably just as good of a coach with Edward Jones as well. So something people should certainly consider. Now, for your team with Forsyth Country Day, tell us how you feel like the season did come to an end overall.
Yeah, I mean, we've still, from a regular season standpoint, our guys just had an amazing year. I mean, we just absolutely bulldozed our way through the schedule. And certainly in every schedule, there's going to be some bumps in the road. But I feel like we really learned and grown from those and are ready to make a great run here in the state tournament. Our league is one of the probably the toughest in the entire state. You've got Greensboro Day, who's ranked nationally. You've got Caldwell, who's a powerhouse in 2A. You got Calvary right down the road for us, who has built a great program in the 3A division. And so, I mean, every night for us in the league is a challenge, and it's really prepared as well for this 4A state tournament run. And so being inside the biggest classification in independent school basketball in North Carolina, I mean, night in and night out, every night's a challenge. But we've got a group that has proven over and over again that when we're connected and we're focused on the right things and we're playing for each other, man, there's not a whole lot of teams that can get between us and that goal that we set in front of us back in September.
For folks interested either in Forsyth Country Day School with their potential connection to play basketball with you there, or to potentially receive your coaching with Edward Jones Advisements, what's the best way people could get involved?
Yeah, and so that's a great question, and those are two very different routes, right? If you want to be connected with me from an Edward Jones standpoint and want to talk about your family and your goals and your plans, would love to have that opportunity. And the best way is really just to reach out through our website, and you can email or send a secure message there, and I can get in touch that way. If you're interested in Forsyth Country Day, the best way is through the athletic website. My email address is there as well. And so, a direct reach out either place, and then I kind of know how I can serve you, and we'll be able to get back in touch right away.
Well, Doug, we appreciate you taking time to be with us here today, and certainly wish you luck throughout the state championships here in basketball.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
That was Doug Eslick, high school basketball coach at Forsyth Country Day School, who actually won their first game in the state playoffs last night against Westland, 51-49. Doug actually wanted me to encourage people, if you do want to reach out to him, get in touch, just give him a call, 336-477-6042. Again, his number, 336-477-6042. And we wish them luck throughout the rest of this state playoff run as well. I want to just sneak this in real quick before the break. There was a high school basketball game in Catawba County just last night. I'm sure their playoffs are going on as well. Dozens of fans upset because the game just canceled at halftime. Sheriff deputies, even at the game, didn't have to make arrests, but they had to shut it down. We can tell you more on that if we have time. But coming up, we got college basketball as well on Waking Up Proud.
It's the legacy of champions, where the crazies roar. It's the thrill of every game, broadcast to the world on WSJS. Experience the passion, the pride, the power that is Duke basketball.
Got the blood of a rebel, spill the blood of a devil.
Tonight, the Blue Devils and Michigan Wolverines have a date in D.C. at Capital One Arena. Catch every moment on WSJS. Complete schedule at WSJS.com.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
Look at her. She's a beauty. My brand new Lincoln Navigator from Parkway Lincoln. I just stand here and look at her. I've had many SUVs in my lifetime, but this new Lincoln Navigator is something else. Modern technology that I'm still learning, but man, it's great. And the price? You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Discover the American luxury Lincoln SUV at Parkway Lincoln today. Awesome selection of SUVs, low interest rates, and maybe even bonus cash back. Parkway Lincoln of Winston-Salem.
Public ice skating is happening at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. Join them for public skating hours, no school skate days, holiday skating, group skating lessons, and party time skating, because parties on ice are the best. Visit WSFairgrounds.com for more information. Public ice skating is open at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds, your one-stop source for entertainment in Winston-Salem.
When you grill with Kingsford charcoal and add Kingsford garlic, onion, and paprika flavor boosters, your special occasion becomes unforgettable. Wow! Made with 100% real spices, Kingsford garlic, onion, and paprika flavor boosters can be added to any pre-lit charcoal to add a whole new, rich, full-bodied flavor and aroma to your spring grilling. So good. Look for Kingsford charcoal and Kingsford garlic, onion, and paprika flavor boosters for a mouth-watering flavor experience. Kingsford.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Start your day the Carolina way on WSJS with Waking Up Prowell.
TeedOffSports.com is the home for yours truly throughout the week. And we actually have a feature from there coming up in just a little bit from Scotty Pierman. He is the #2 ranked long drive champion in the world. He's actually from the Triad area, and we had him on Between the Shanks, a golf podcast that you can find at TeedOffSports.com. And we're going to share a little bit of that with you because he had some words on Bryson DeChambeau that are really unforgettable. So that's coming up for you here shortly. You can also follow along with me at Stephen Beck TO on X, where you can watch this episode of Waking Up Proud, and you can do the same at WSJS Radio, or just give me a call, 336-777-1600. That's the line right here. We can even pump you up on the air this morning, and you can take part in the show. Right now, though, we got something that I got to take issue with like I normally do here on Saturday mornings. It's time for my unpopular opinion.
It's time now. Stephen's unpopular opinion.
So yesterday, with the record high temperatures that we had here in North Carolina, it's starting to feel like spring is right at our fingertips now. But it was also the first day of spring training games in Major League Baseball. And I always hear people getting really excited about spring training. You also have pitchers and catchers that start to report, and that's somehow a headline that catches attention in sports. where I understand it, I get that after winter weather, and it's probably more highlighted with the winter we've had this time in North Carolina, that people are itching for warmer weather. They're ready for spring. They're excited to see flowers bloom and birds chirping outside and all the things that come with that. But for baseball, wake me up when August gets here. If you're excited or hanging on the edge of your seat with every pitch in a spring training game prior to a Major League Baseball season that's going to go from now until October, then you've got way more time on your hands than I ever would. I'll admit, my grandparents, I know that they will sit and watch every single Atlanta Braves baseball game that they can, and I admire that dedication. I really do. But for me, Major League Baseball, it's really just honestly a waste because of the length of the schedule, the length of the season, everything slow and taking so much time until we actually get to some meaningful games. Let's get past the early season, who's doing what and what's happening in spring training, and get down to where it's like, okay, hey, there's a playoff picture now. And actually, if we lose this game, we don't have 159 other ones that are coming behind it. Hear these stats real quick. They'll blow you away. Major League Baseball season length takes longer than growing a whole human baby. It takes longer than training for and running your first marathon. You can get a college semester done twice in the amount of time that the Major League Baseball season takes. I'm an Office fan. That's a great sitcom. I also was a Seinfeld fan, so I particularly love this one. You can watch every single episode of the Office TV show multiple times faster than the Major League Baseball season will last. The entire NFL season, 18 weeks, shorter than Major League Baseball. An entire FIFA World Cup, the NBA Finals, and the playoffs. Here you go. I know that Elon and others in the NASA circles and that love space, they're working on this, but you can fly to Mars. Takes about 7 months to get there. That's shorter than a Major League Baseball season. I'll leave you with this one right here because the same people that probably daytime TV sit and they'll hang out, watch every single one of these Major League games, that they're probably tuned into a little bit HGTV as well. You can build a house that would show up on HGTV faster than sitting and waiting for the entire Major League Baseball season to play out. So while everybody's hanging on pins and needles for spring training and the season to get started here, I'm gonna wait until we actually have something that's worth the time. I will tell you this, and I am somebody that really loves sports, but the NBA falls in similar circles for me. I would say that the NBA is too long. Going into June, July, and their playoffs stretching out into the warmer months, you've lost me there too. But another thing right now in the association that is happening is a story that came out by Pablo Torre. He is somebody that is like an investigative journalist and really tries to drive down into this. There's a claim out about NBA owners believing something about the NBA and its draft that I can't wait to share with you here this morning, because I think they're onto something. And the draft around the association already doesn't make a ton of sense. So that's coming up. college basketball coming up, and another great guest, Scotty Pierman. All of that's ahead right here. Just stay with us on Waking Up Proud on WSJS.
Hi everyone, Brian Kilmeade here. I'm so excited to bring the latest breaking news, sports, politics, and entertainment to High Point, to Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and beyond. So join me weekday mornings at 10 right here on your home for the Brian Kilmeade Show. News, talk, sports, the Triad WSJS.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Mercedes-Benz of Winston-Salem is celebrating 55 years of serving our community. Come celebrate with us.
Come together in celebration.
We have an abundance of 2026 Mercedes on the lot, and new models are arriving weekly. Get exceptional pricing during this event. With interest rates as low as 1.99%, you can drive away in your brand new Mercedes today. Mercedes-Benz of Winston-Salem, heavily invested in and proud to serve our community for 55 years.
In Kernersville, community thrives on connection and growth. If you're ready to embrace both, the Kernersville Chamber of Commerce invites you to the Wellness and Community Showcase at the Kernersville YMCA. Discover a world where well-being meets professional success. Join businesses, professionals, and wellness enthusiasts all for free. This Monday, February 23rd, 9:15 a.m. till 12 noon. Visit KernersvilleNC.com/events for all the details. Kernersville Chamber of Commerce, bridging community and opportunity.
All the news that matters and more. WSJS Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, Burlington. Online at WSJS.com.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Mr. Griffin.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Hey, everybody, this is Jeffrey Griffin. Join me and Christian Snyder and get your work week started the right way with Triad Today. Civics 101 Unleashed Weekend Review. Hooray for Hollywood with Donald Marler and a whole lot more. See y'all then on the next Triad Today. Take care.
It's pure delight to sip your morning brew and soul-soothing to savor every drop. Thanks to Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters, where every small batch is roasted to order, crafting flavors that dance on your palate. From smooth everyday blends to bold single origin roast, each cup is a journey around the globe. Fresh, flavorful, and fulfilling. Elevate your coffee experience at Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters in High Point. A higher quality coffee serving a higher calling. Available at fosterhobbs.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Waking Up Proud on WSJS. Fueling fans, flavor, and fun. The morning show that's always on the prowl is served up by Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters in High Point. With its fresh specialty roasted beans crafted to order, each cup is a journey. And by High Point University, the premier life skills university and ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review.
Make way for the king.
This is Waking Up Proud with Stephen Beck.
Yeah, what is up? Happy Saturday to you. It's Beck here on Waking Up Proud. WSJS.com to stream us wherever you go. Way easier than trying to fiddle with the dial on the radio. Happy to have you with us this morning, but stay with me all throughout the week as well. TeedOffSports.com. That's TeedOff Sports.com for blogs and podcasts and videos, streams, all sorts of stuff that we keep you busy with there throughout the week. And I'm happy for those that do already follow along there. We've got an interview coming up that we're going to share a little bit of with you from our Between the Shanks podcast. And that is from Scotty Pierman, the #2 ranked long drive champion who lives here in the Triad. Had an unforgettable story about Bryson DeChambeau, who's out on the Live Tour. That's coming up. Plus, I have left you hanging on pins and needles with a wild pig that I shared at the start of the show. Had a standoff with police here in North Carolina as well. So before we try to find our way to fit everything in this hour, let's at least get you started for the day with the latest and greatest in North Carolina news.
Hot off the prowl with Stephen Beck.
These are the latest trending stories for our state, and I shared one of these with you earlier. A little bit of a mystery for me is that another restaurant has closed now in Greensboro. The latest to do so is the pizza chain Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza. They also have a location in Winston-Salem that closed as well. And the company says that this move is part of a strategy shift, I should say, though it does plan to open new franchises in the future. But that was just one of a few different restaurants for particularly the Greensboro area that has now closed in recent weeks. We have a shift that's going to happen, and you're going to feel it if you go outside starting at the beginning of the new work week. We've had abnormally warm February weather after having all the snow that dumped on us. And now meteorologists are saying that the state is about to see another major temperature swing again, moving from that record warmth up in the 80s and hovering close to that to much colder conditions. I believe I looked ahead, the high temperature for Monday in the Triads like 39 degrees. So, man, that's going to be a tough shock to the system that's coming up here to start the week. And authorities also say that the house fire that killed the father of NASCAR driver Denny Hamlin has officially been ruled accidental, even though investigators still can't determine exactly the cause of that house fire. They said the damage makes it difficult to really pinpoint exactly why and how and where that fire did start. I've got a bit of a fire in me this morning, and I've been running at 100 miles an hour. It is in part to the Foster Hobbs coffee that is always in my cup. Iced coffee is my my favorite that I carry with me. It doesn't matter how hot or cold it is outside. But also it's because of the slate that we have in college basketball. Now, the biggest event of the weekend on the sports slate, I still feel like, is the gold medal game in Olympic ice hockey for men's. Canada, United States. I know the history that's also into that. Despite us being out here on the, the southeastern part of the country, we probably haven't been infiltrated and entrenched in and around ice hockey as much as other parts have. But this is a big deal. It goes back, Miracle on Ice being the last time that the United States won a gold. And so now they're going to be trying to do that tomorrow morning. But today in college basketball is really rivaling when it comes to some of these games. So just to run through some of the ones that I know everybody's going to be talking about. Wake Forest playing today. They take on the Virginia Tech Hokies. Now, Wake, they've got something cooking here late. I thought that Steve Forbes, the head coach there, and not having Nate Calmese was going to lead to really a struggle to maybe make the ACC tournament. But after winning 3 in a row, the Deacs have really moved in the right direction. So a chance to do that again today on the road against the Hokies. UNC playing at Syracuse, that game at 1:00. There's been a lot of words about Henry Vassar this week. And the latest that I've seen is that he went through some drills and practiced the last couple of days. Still a probable to play in this game. Caleb Wilson, a little bit more time needed for his wrist injury. A big surprise to the college basketball world, and these are for people that really know ball. I'm going to talk about another game here in the Triad coming up for folks that really know ball. Well, this is another one. App State in the Sun Belt Conference, really surprising people. Dustin Kearns has done a great job. They play a big rival for them normally for their football side. Georgia Southern at App State at 1:00 today. UNCG playing in the SoCon. They play ETSU. That game's at 2:00. And then UNC Wilmington playing Campbell at 4:00 later in the day. Big game for a lot of people. Number 1, number 3, Michigan, Duke. I feel like this is not opportune timing to be looking at a non-conference game like this for the Blue Devils because you've got an ACC tournament, just lingering in the near future. And it's good to have a test because it'll tell you where you really are. But ever since the Blue Devils lost to the Tar Heels, that last second shot by Seth Trimble, I feel like there's a little bit of hitch in their step right now. And I don't think that this game today against Michigan is going to help at all. So just spoiler alert, I'll tell you, I'd take Michigan in this game. But those are the local games, big slate ahead that I know a lot of people are paying attention to. For me, though, somebody that I feel like I'm not your average college basketball guy. I go deeper than that. I really, it's It's probably for me college basketball 1, NFL 2, and then you could go from there. And I really love the stories that other people aren't talking about. So I mentioned earlier, Miami of Ohio, undefeated in college basketball. They won again last night. I believe now 27-0. Another interesting story from last night in college basketball, St. Louis and VCU. St. Louis, led by head coach Josh Schertz, who I actually worked with at High Point University a ways back when I was entrenched in college basketball. He's led St. Louis to a remarkable season, really a surefire bid for the NCAA tournament, even if they don't win the Atlantic 10. But last night, the game had so many suspensions, people being kicked out, that really it was a mess. So that's kind of a unique story. But today here in the Triad, I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about, well, they are my beloved High Point University Panthers, but this is a legit game today. This isn't me just trying to wrap in and bring in a topic because I like it. I appreciate their support as well of Waking Up Proud. But this is because this game harkens back to a time when I was working with Josh Schertz. 2008. High Point University's biggest rival at the time were the Winthrop Eagles. If you've been following college basketball since that time, and you would know the name Greg Marshall. He was the head coach at Winthrop, went on to Wichita State, got in a little bit of trouble. But when he was the head coach at Winthrop, the Eagles were a little bit of a darling for upset picks in the NCAA tournament. They made it repetitively out of the Big South Conference to where it kind of became a household name. Well, in 2008, Marshall had moved on. It was Randy Pill at the time. And my High Point team I was working with, led by Bart Lundy, Josh Schertz, and some others, we upset that NCAA tournament team. They made it to the tourney that year, 62-61 in High Point. Fans rushed the floor. It was a blackout game. It was just one of those moments in college basketball you don't forget at any level because of the excitement and the atmosphere. Well, that has a chance to be topped today. We're talking about a High Point University team that is already made history here in its league, the Big South. They're the first school in Big South history to win 25-plus games in 3 consecutive seasons. And right now, they're 13-1 in the Big South Conference. Guess who's right there nipping at their heels? That's right, Winthrop. They're 12-1 in the league. And right now, the only disparity between that 13-1 and 12-1 is that High Point has played just one additional game in league play because they're going to get a bye before the Big South tournament. So today in High Point, 4 p.m., High Point University is taking on these Winthrop Eagles in a game that will likely determine your Big South regular season champion, your number 1 seed in the Big South tournament. And I would go on the record to say it might be the second biggest game in the state, rivaling right up there to that Duke game that we talked about against Michigan. So big time event happening in High Point. Looking forward to it. I'll take the Panthers at home, but they're going to have their hands full with Logan Duncombe, who probably will be your Big South Player of the Year. More on the way. Waking Up Proud. Happy to have you with us here on WSJS.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. After winning 2 golds and a silver in his first 3 races, American speed skater Jordan Stolz will be shooting for his 4th medal in Milan after qualifying for the 16-lap men's mass start final, which takes place later this hour. Meanwhile, the U.S. is seeking its first ever women's curling medal as Team USA takes on Canada for bronze. The Americans and Canadians are tied at 5 after 7 ends. Norwegian cross-country skier Johannes Klæbo made history, winning his 6th gold medal of these Winter Games. He placed first in the 50-kilometer cross-country mass start to pass American Eric Heiden, setting a record for most golds won by an athlete in a single Winter Olympics. Also later today, American freestyle skiers Connor Curran and Kayla Kuhn, also Chris Lillis, won gold in mixed team aerials. With this Winter Games update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood One Sports.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Winter's chill shouldn't freeze your fun. At WSJS, we're melting the icy blues with the winter wonderland of winning. Imagine a flurry of cool prizes just waiting for you. It's where winter meets winning with bear-sized surprises. Sign up weekly at WSJS.com and let the avalanche of excitement begin. Dive into the warmth of the winter wonderland of winning because we're too cool to hibernate. Visit WSJS.com today.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
Sports, good food, and local laughs. All live, all from your backyard. It's Waking Up Proud with Stephen Beck on WSJS.
Off to a rocking start for your Saturday morning. Waking up proud. And I am Beck here with you on WSJS. Feel like a lot of things happening in and around Greensboro here on the show this morning, but that's just kind of the way it seems. And I've got another item that I want to share with you coming up in a second. But first, for regular listeners here to Waking Up Proud, they want an update, I'm sure. And if you're not a regular, this is what we've got going on. I'm out on a Taco Bell tour throughout the Triad, throughout North Carolina. Wherever I go, I'm looking for the best taco that's around. Couple of little things that we try to make it as even and fair as possible. I'm only doing beef tacos. And I'm only a soft taco guy. The hard shell taco is you're just asking to have something spilled in your lap, and it's a travesty. So that's the precursors that we've put on this little Talk About tour. And I've done 3 places so far. If you want to go and check out those tastings I've had, they're all available at teedoffsports.com. Right there on the homepage, you'll see Talk About tour. You click that, you can watch every single one of them. And I've had my highest score so far at an establishment in High Point, but all of that being supported and powered by my friends at Foster Hobbs Coffee, the roastery in High Point, right off of Johnson Street. Go in and visit and get yourself some Foster Hobbs that you can then take with you, like I do, iced coffee with me. And as I try these tacos, if I happen to stumble on one that I just can't stomach, then at that point, you just slosh back some of this Foster Hobbs goodness, and that's the beauty of having it with you all the time. I probably am one of those kids that started driving vehicles at a younger age than I know my own 2 daughters have. Nowadays, it's weird. Kids, even those of age, I don't feel like they really even want to drive cars. They're just as happy getting their parents to drive them somewhere or carpooling, maybe if one of their friends has their license, maybe even it's Uber and stuff in bigger cities. But it's really strange because for me at 16, when I was able to finally get my license, I was ready to rock and roll. First day I had my license, I went for a drive in a monsoon to the local YMCA, and I didn't even go in to work out or do anything. I just wanted to take the trip. Well, here in North Carolina, a boy in Monroe, North Carolina, went for a little drive this week of his own. The kicker here is, though, that he's 12. So that's where I go back. For me, I grew up driving like a mower, one that actually had a steering wheel. We're not talking zero turn and tractors and things like that. I was on those at a young age, just getting used to maneuvering some type of vehicle, and did that before 12. I'm trying to think now. I was probably somewhere 8 to 10. So I admire the kid wanting to take a trip. But here's what happened. Police there in Monroe saw an SUV around 8:30 in the morning on February 18th that it was suspiciously driving. So, of course, they flipped on the lights, whoop, did a traffic stop. When they did the traffic stop, officers discovered the driver was that 12-year-old boy. The child told officers, though, that he missed the school bus and decided to drive himself. Again, I admire that he was just going to take it upon himself and hop in the driver's seat and go wherever he wanted to go. What blew me away about the story, because I was once a 12-year-old boy myself, and I just know this, the last place I would have been headed to that morning would have been school. Missing the bus, get it. Probably didn't want to get in trouble with his folks because maybe overslept or something like that. That's probably a little scary, and that'll strike fear into you depending on who your parents are, and you're going to probably take some drastic measures at that point. But to drive to school was an interesting choice. For me at 12, where am I driving? Probably food would be top of that list. Maybe a golf course at that time, just to go out and hit the links for a little while. Well, here's what happened with him. A school resource officer was contacted, ended up taking the boy to school. The vehicle was secured and the student was released to school officials. No injuries, nothing bad like that. However, authorities say that the Department of Social Services certainly would be following up, as you would expect. So all ended up well. But for the young boy who chose to head to school, he deserves extra credit now, even though I'm sure he was in a ton of hot water for just jumping behind the wheel. There are other vehicles in our local area. They're going to be receiving a change. I'm here to let you know what that looks like. They are called e-scooters, and they're located all around downtown Greensboro. And these e-scooters are one of these deals. I think they're connected to an app, and you can just pay for some time and hop on and take off and start using them. Well, Greensboro is now introducing new safety rules for these e-scooters. They're going to take effect late at nighttime for riders that are out and on the streets between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., with the changes starting March 1st. The top speed of these things, which surprisingly they can go, they're going to drop down from 15 miles an hour to 10 miles an hour late at night. And the other interesting thing about these changes that are being made is that they will now require a cognitive test after 10 p.m. to be able to get behind the wheel of one of these scooters. Anyone starting after that, they'll have to take a test that checks their reaction time, their alertness, and if they fail that test, then the scooter won't unlock. They actually won't be able to ride it. So those changes coming. Another story to downtown Greensboro. My guess being because during those hours, they've noticed more accidents, more scooters just creating havoc and problems out on the streets. And so this is the way to curb that. Get it? Ba-doom-doom. Coming up, we've got the unforgettable comments that Scotty Pierman, long drive champ, number 2 in the world, made about Bryson DeChambeau that we've got to share with you. Plus, the Olympics, they've been happening. We just had an update just a few minutes ago here on WSJS. Well, I'm going to update you on who the flag bearers are for the closing ceremonies, plus some other viral things that have been happening there. It's all coming up right here on Waking Up Proud, WSJS.
Feel the rush of the stadium and the roar of the crowd. It all happens right here with the Charlotte Football Club on WSJS. Experience every goal and every cheer. From first kick to final whistle, hear the crown roar on WSJS and WSJS.com. This afternoon, Charlotte FC visits St. Louis City SC.
Only one queen at the top of the mountain.
Live, loud and local. All hail the crown, live on WSJS.
It goes from zero to brutal in just a whip. Foster Hobbs Coffee Roasters in High Point. A sip of heaven that took a right turn at delicious and landed in the hearts of coffee lovers everywhere. With its fresh specialty roasted beans crafted to order, each cup is a journey from smooth blends to bold global roast. Only Foster Hobbs could brew this kind of magic, and it's called coffee. Now available at fosterhobbs.com. Brew your bliss today.
At Dario, it's more than a meal, it's a tradition. Inspired by the classic American hot dog stand, Dario has grown to offer a menu that pleases the whole family. The menus and faces have evolved since 1947. Their dedication to doing the right thing remains unchanged. When you visit Dario, you're not just dining, you're part of a legacy. Experience it for yourself at any Dario location across North and South Carolina and online at Dario.com. Taste the history, savor the tradition. Dario.
Hello, Triad. This is Todd Starnes, and I'm so happy to have you be a part of the Todd Starnes Show family in the Triad. Each weekday, we've got you covered with the latest on politics, faith, and culture news, along with the top newsmakers and your calls.
Say what you know. Say what you think.
So join me weekdays at 12 noon on your home for the Todd Starnes Show. News, talk, sports for the Triad. WSJS.
Real people, real talk, real local. Waking Up Proud with Stephen Beck.
Back now on the News Talk Sports Station for the Triad with Waking Up Proud. And I am Beck, a part of WSJS.com. Thanks for being with us this morning. 336-777-1600 is the number here. And actually, if you're in the Triad, interested in going and watching Wake Forest baseball, we can get you a pair of tickets to their game. They have a game later this afternoon, I believe at 4 o'clock, and then they have a Sunday afternoon game as well. First pitch starts at 1 o'clock. All of this brought to you by Pancho Villa's Mexican and Seafood Restaurants. They have a location in both High Point and Winston-Salem, bringing you the best authentic Mexican food in the Triad. Wake Forest baseball tickets available to you. All you got to do, call me, 336-777-1600, and I can hook you up with those tickets for, like I said, your choice, either later today or maybe even a little matinee afternoon game on Sunday. Now, I also, throughout the week, am hosting podcasts and writing blogs and doing a lot of different things that are content-driven for teedoffsports.com, where we hope you'll go and take part and enjoy what we've got for you there. And one of our items is a new golf podcast called Between the Shanks. A couple of hacks, getting to know people in and around the golf industry, talking about LIV and PGA Tour golf and whatever else that comes up in the golf environment. And we had the pleasure of being joined by Scotty Pierman. He is the number 2 ranked long drive champion in the whole world for 2025. His longest drive for the year was over 400 and some odd yards, ball speed greater than 200 miles an hour. Just ridiculous stats out there. But one of the really cool things that Scotty shared with us was after I asked him about Bryson DeChambeau, who is on the Live Tour. Bryson is, I believe, embodies the spirit of like the common golf fan. He's like the people's champ right now. And I miss him desperately on the PGA Tour. But anybody that follows the game knows that Bryson's a big hitter. I mean, that is something he works hard at. Makes me sweat watching him go through some of these workouts. And Bryson, interestingly enough, has competed some on the Long Drive World Tour against Scotty Pierman. And so Scotty and he have been up against each other and recently interacted at one of these events with a story that I had to share with you. See, Scotty Pierman started in Long Drive because of just happenstance, but now has devoted his full career and efforts to raising awareness for premature babies because one of his son, Xander, was a preemie. And then I heard about Bryson trying to help out. Check this out. It was on Between the Shanks earlier this week.
Well, we did a fake tournament for him. So I got to meet him a couple of weeks before the World Championship. Got to tell him a little bit about my story. He was really cool about listening, remembering names. Well, flash forward to the World Championship that I was referring to. 2021, it's the end of the day, the first day. Me and Bryson were in the same bracket of 16. I think there was 8 brackets of 16 people hitting. Me and him just happened to be in the same one. We hit. We both advanced that day. At the end of the day, we are at the driving range. There is nobody around. It's just me about 50 yards from him where my bag was. He's putting his stuff up. I'm putting my stuff up. We're just sitting there getting ready to go home. I hear somebody scream my name. Hey, Scotty, come here. I'm looking around. He's looking right at me. So I walked down to him and I was like, hey man, good job today and all that good stuff. And as I'm walking up, he's got his glove on and I see him writing in it. And it's a custom made Ryder Cup glove. It was Puma or Cobra, which one it was at the time. But it was somebody had hand painted it, stars and stripes on the back. Like it was custom made, one of one. He says, here you go, Scotty. I want you to have this. Auction this. It gives me the glove, hands it to me like that. Says, I want you to auction this off for Xander's preemie organization.
Oh my God.
And there was nobody around. There was no camera, not for anybody to see. He remembered, never met my son, remembered my son's name from a couple of months before when we had first met, remembered his name, remembered the story, and took time out of his day to do that. We gave it to the family support network here that has got to deal with the hospital who has helped us out while we were there for Xander with preemies, and they auctioned it off at his silent auction and raised a lot of money for it. So I will be forever a Bryson fan.
Bryson DeChambeau, great guy, just doing common, decent, nice things, even despite who he is. Remembered Scotty Pierman's son and his story, and now just donating a one-of-a-kind glove to raise money for preemies. And you can hear the rest of that conversation with Scotty Pierman on Between the Shanks podcast. Just head over to teedoffsports.com, and they're all available for you there. The Olympics has been a big-time thing, and I think it's really cool. We've had Olympic updates here on WSJS throughout the events. The flag bearers for the closing ceremonies, though, have been announced. So I wanted to share those with you. The first is Hillary Knight, and the other is going to be, let's see here as I scroll down, Evan Bates, a figure skater. So Hillary Knight, she's a women's hockey player the women's United States team already won gold, with the men obviously playing for that against Canada tomorrow morning. And Evan Bates is a figure skater. Both athletes are 5-time Olympians. And Bates, he won gold in the team figure skating event at these Milan Olympic Games. Don't know as much about him. But what I do know is throughout these games, there's been several really viral, trending, interesting stories that I've been following. I thought I would run through a few of them now because they're capturing the nation. And we'll start with Elisa Liu. She's a figure skater. Again, I don't follow ice dancing really at all. Despite my past happenings and playing some ice hockey, I never was on the figure skating side. But Elisa Liu, she's the girl who won gold. First time that we've done that in some long time that I can recall, but a lot of people recognize her because she's kind of got like the stripe pattern hair. She's got an interesting piercing in her mouth that kind of shows off these, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a hook through her mouth. But I will tell you, as somebody that's a very commonplace, like general observer, her ability out there of just performing and captivating not only our country, but really the whole Olympics with her one gold winning performance in ice dancing has been something that's been really special. Curling in the whole Olympics, and every time I feel like the Winter Olympics pops up, it becomes one of those things. You start seeing facilities in and around the local area that like, there's a rush on people that all of a sudden want to start giving curling a try. And watching the United States mixed teams, but also their women's team. I mean, there's been a lot of fun seeing those competitors go at it in that sport. That's just a good blend, I feel like, of strategy, but probably got a little bit of luck. I know it's got skill. I can tell you right now, doing that little slide they do with one knee on the ice and you're kind of gliding before you release the stone, that ain't easy. The other story that has taken some time now and just gotten buried by other stuff, Lindsey Vonn shared some pictures yesterday of her leg. She's like bionic at this point with how many nails and metal strips and whatever else doctors had to do to surgically repair her leg and put it back together after her tough crash. And that all came after she had already messed up her ACL and still tried to compete. So lots of really cool storylines in and around the Olympics. But for me, it all comes back to this gold medal game in men's hockey, United States, Canada. Tomorrow morning, Brady Tkachuk, one of the captains of this team, looking ahead to that matchup, shared his thoughts after yesterday's semifinal game against Slovakia.
I mean, they've been on top for a bunch of years now, and I mean they've got tremendous players on their team. They play super hard, and just for us, it's just kind of leaving everything on the table and just giving absolutely everything we have. The sacrifice that I know that guys are willing to make every single shift, every single play. And that's what it's going to come down to. It's just the ultimate sacrifice to help each other and achieve a childhood dream.
It's a childhood dream for those guys that have been doing it, probably on little neighborhood ponds way back, dreaming of this moment to go out and hit the ice. And it would be the first time that the United States has won gold since the Miracle on Ice back in the 80s. And I think that makes it really special to see Canada tomorrow morning. Some wrap-up stories coming up next.
Turn it up, turn it on, turn it loose.
Turning rush hour into must-hear sports talk radio. It's On the Drive.
Yeah, get your game.
What's happening, everybody? It's WD from The Drive, and we hope you're having a fantastic sports weekend with a loaded slate of college basketball, the Winter Olympics, MLB spring training is underway, and we react to it all, especially that Duke-Michigan game on The Drive, 4 to 6 p.m., right here on WSJS.
High Point University, The premier life skills university is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
Leadership that stands the test of time isn't just a tradition, it's a necessity. Re-elect Tanya McDaniel for Forsyth County Commissioner District A. Her experience in fiscal accountability and education is proven. Committed to community, Tanya ensures you're informed, engaged, and represented. Together, we rise. Visit vote4mcdaniel.com. Impactful leadership for a stronger tomorrow. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Tanya McDaniel, Forsyth County Commissioner District A.
I am Tanya McDaniel, and I approve this message.
Nothing like being stuck in an airport, but open your eyes. The harvest is plenty.
This is True Commentary with Stu Efferson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
Stuck at the Charlotte airport, frustrated, hours delayed, but guess what? I have had the opportunity to share the gospel and to give a kind word in the scripture to several people that needed a lift. And I realized the Lord has a reason. Romans 8:28 is real. God works all things together for the good to them who love him, who are called according to his purpose. Nothing happens by chance. It's loud. It's crazy. The flight's delayed. But guess what? God's work is never delayed because God is always working. Seize that moment, even in the airports when you're traveling. You can hear the noise behind me and take advantage of every opportunity to point people closer to God.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
Hola, amigos. Winter is here and temperatures are down. But here at Pancho Villa's, our food is always sizzling hot. Come to one of our 2 locations in the Triad for the best Mexican food. We're always excited to be partners on the Truth Network, and we're glad to serve your family all year round.
Friendly service, delicious food, and a wonderful family-friendly atmosphere. Find them online at mypanchovillas.com. Vaya con Dios.
Pour that first cup and pull up a chair. Stephen Beck is serving up your weekend dose of sports, stories, and smiles from the people who live it. Waking Up Prowled on WSJS.
Beck is here with you Saturday mornings, 9 to 11 on Waking Up Prowled as part of the WSJS lineup. You can find out more about all of our offerings at WSJS.com, where you can also get involved in the Winter Wonderland of Winnings. It's essentially just like a free prize market over there. You just log on, click on that. If you haven't won in the past 30 days, or somebody in your household, something like that, then, man, we've got free prizes there waiting to basically be accepted. And we appreciate all of those that follow and take part. One of the finishing and closing stories this morning, I alluded to it a little earlier, is centered around the NBA. I'll start by saying last night, if you're a Hornets fan, they did lose against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 118-113, and that's despite Con Knippel having 33 points and 6 boards in that game. LaMelo Ball, he's had an interesting week where he was wrecking his custom Hummer in Charlotte and taking that wreck, hadn't even been cleaned up yet, and hopping into another luxury vehicle before things even really closed out there. He had 18 points last night, but the Hornets lose this game after they were on a pretty good tear before the All-Star break. But one of the things that the NBA has been combating and fighting has been load management. It's been, I would say, questions over what to do with draft picks and how to punish teams maybe that play into that. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the association, has really presented all sorts of different ideas, we'll call them at this point, to combat different challenges that the league is currently facing. But this one right here is one I personally can buy into, and it doesn't take some type of magical conspiracy theorist brain to get there. Pablo Torre is an investigative journalist who finds himself really, I'd say, debating and combating a lot of different influential figures at a lot of different times. One of those was Jordan Hudson, the girlfriend of Bill Belichick at the University of North Carolina. But this time, Pablo was on a podcast recently and kind of shared another story that's a little bit of a surprise, maybe. And that is that a couple of NBA team owners privately shared with him that they believe that the 2025 NBA draft lottery was manipulated by the NBA. And that was manipulated to benefit the Dallas Mavericks, to allow them to get the first pick and take Cooper Flagg. At the time, the Mavericks only had about a 1.8% chance of getting the number one overall selection in that draft. Despite those odds, though, they won the lottery and took Flagg with the first overall pick. If you recall, this all also took place after a significant blockbuster trade that the Mavericks made, where they sent superstar Luka Doncic to the LA Lakers. And so now, if you just start adding one and one together, it starts looking precarious. Low percentage rate of getting the first overall pick in the lottery. They just completed this significant trade, and oh, looky there. What do we find? The first overall pick where we can take another franchise-style player. As you might suspect, Pablo Torre doesn't give direct sources of which NBA owners shared this with him, but I don't doubt it. What amazes me in all the different things that the association with Adam Silver trying to fix and combat, who I think really hasn't done a good job at all since Stern gave up that job. Why they haven't grasped that the worst team from the prior season deserves the first overall pick is a crazy mystery to me. The NFL does it. It's a pretty simple model. You got the worst record the season before, you get the first overall pick. There's no lottery. There's nothing up to this little ball that pops up and no percentage chances to do with it. Pretty cut and dry of how to fix and improve that. While I'm making that judgment, another judge made an important ruling this week. And this is against all you haters out there that don't think that boneless wings are actually wings, okay? A customer from Chicago sued Buffalo Wild Wings back in 2023, claiming that the restaurant's boneless wings name is misleading. He argued that the food isn't actually deboned chicken wings, but pieces of chicken breast, more like chicken nuggets. I hear that argument all the time as a foodie that believes that boneless wings are far superior than trying to battle with this wing full of cartilage and bone and trying to actually harvest something significant off of it while also making a mess. The judge here, Judge John Tharp Jr., took my side. First off, he dismissed the case. He said, this is crazy talk. He ruled that reasonable consumers are not fooled in this case by the term boneless wings. And he actually joked that the complaint had, get this, no meat on its bones. Boneless wings, it's widely understood as a marketing term and just as much a wing for all those that try to hate on it, by the way. I had alluded to some bacon that was on the loose. That's the way I view it anyways. Bacon, hot dogs, barbecue, love a good pig. But in Ellenboro, North Carolina, earlier this week, there was one of those bad boys on the run. Ellenboro is in Rutherford County. I would imagine a pretty rural area where a large pig wandered into a private residence earlier this week. They think it was looking for food, apparently. This is where the story took a turn that kind of captivated me a little bit. Authorities describe the pig's behavior as confident and fearless as it made its way inside this private residence. When deputies from Rutherford County Sheriff's Office responded, the pig didn't immediately leave here. Now we're talking about a more serious situation. Maybe they should consider SWAT, actually, getting them out there. It led, they say, to a brief standoff, which ended up resolving itself, they say, because the Rutherford Sheriff's Department used a pack of crackers and coaxed the pig out of the residence, where the pig later was taken away by animal control. And they actually identified this pig as Penelope. It later was found that had an actual owner and is expected to return to the home without any legal charges, court dates, or anything crazy like that. I, as a foodie, want to leave you with this last little story update. This is one of those candies following up on a recent Valentine's that we just had last weekend that I feel like is top dog. And that's Reese's. Reese's peanut butter cups. I don't care if it's the cup, if it's dark chocolate, if it's milk chocolate, if it's the egg that they have around Easter that'll be coming up. Whatever shape that they want to put it in, they can add it to like a Take 5 or whatever else that's out there. And I feel like it's still, when it comes to just like a fastball candy that you can pick up, is the best that you get. But people out there are starting to question something. They're questioning if the taste of Reese's has changed recently. And all of this questioning led to Hershey having to respond this week. It began when Brad Reese, the grandson of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups inventor H.B. Reese, publicly himself criticized the brand. He claimed that Reese's products now use cheaper ingredients, and he says that all of that changed the flavor and the quality that you find. So Brad Reese is saying that Reese's items have replaced traditional ingredients with alternative items like different chocolate coatings and different peanut butter inside. Instead of like the cream, they use some other kind of filler. And the Hershey Company came out. They said the classic Reese's Peanut Butter Cups recipe have not changed, that they're all still made with milk, chocolate, and the real deal peanut butter. So if you're with Brad, the grandson, and you feel like something flavor-wise have changed in the compound and makeup of a Reese's cup, then at least according to Hershey, they're saying, nay, that ain't true. We're still doing what we've always done. I'm not buying it. I think things have changed probably, and their marketing is intelligent there to not change. Just ask Cracker Barrel about that one. Hey, it's been a fun Saturday morning with you here on Waking Up Proud. Later today on WSJS, you can find the Duke Blue Devils game with Michigan. Our coverage for that will start later this afternoon. Anything else throughout the week that you want to know what I'm up to? It's easy. Just head over to teedoffsports.com and follow me there. And you'll find me again here next Saturday morning, 9 to 11, Waking Up Proud on WSJS.
It's the legacy of champions, where the